Hi friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to another week's What's for Dinner. If you're new here, I would love if you'd hit that subscribe button so you could join my YouTube family. I put out What's for Dinner videos every Monday, and I've got 3 inspiration meals for you again this week, and I hope that you enjoy them. So let's get started. This first recipe is Greek pasta salad and some buffalo chicken. I'm starting off by making the dressing for this pasta salad, and to do that I'm combining 1/3 cup olive oil, 1/4 cup red wine vinegar, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and some salt and pepper to taste. And I did notice that this dressing did need to be doubled for my liking for the pasta salad, because I do like more dressing in my pasta salad. Or you could make half the amount of pasta and use this amount of dressing, but doubling up I would recommend. So now I'm just going to go ahead and boil my water, and I salted that water, and I'm just going to add in some garden rotini to that, and I added the whole box, which was I believe a pound of pasta. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut my vegetables for that. And for this I am cutting 1 red bell pepper diced up into some bite-sized pieces. Next I went ahead and peeled my cucumber, and I just cut off the ends, and I'm also only using 3/4 of the cucumber. And now I'm taking a spoon to show you really quick, just small clip, but I went and did it aside in the trash can, was to scoop out the inside seeds from the cucumber with a spoon. It easily just scrapes out by doing what I just showed you a moment ago. And then I'm going to go ahead and just cut those into some strips and then into some bite-sized pieces here. Next, I'm just going to be dicing up some red onion. You'll need about 1/3 cup of red onion. If you like more or less, just do that to your desired preference. Next, I went ahead and cleaned off 1 pint of cherry tomatoes, and I'm just going to go ahead and have all of those. You're also going to need 1/2 cup of sliced olives, and I didn't have sliced olives on hand, so I just went ahead and took these whole olives that I had and just chopped them into halves, which actually works better for me anyways, because my boyfriend's not a huge fan of olives, so he's able to pick the larger pieces out if he gets a lot in his pasta salad. Once my pasta was cooked to al dente, I went ahead and drained that, and then I'm placing that into a big bowl with ice and water to go ahead and cool those noodles down, as well as stop the cooking process. I don't want these to get any softer. And then I drained that, and I'm placing that into the bowl that I'm going to be mixing all the ingredients in. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that dressing in and give it a stir to coat all the pasta. And this is where I started to notice that I was going to need more dressing, so I used basically another amount of the dressing, like another whole amount of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and just mix in all those chopped up vegetables, and you'll see me add only a little of the tomatoes here because I'm kind of stirring it around. I don't want them to get too mushed up where the seeds come out, and I also want to see if it seems like too much for tomatoes for this amount of pasta, but it actually ended up being the perfect amount. I just also didn't want them all mushed up in there. I did the same exact thing after these tomatoes, which you'll see in a moment here, with the olives and the feta cheese. I added them at the end so that it wouldn't get too mushy. So you'll see me add those olives in, and then I used a 1/2 cup of feta cheese, and I also broke it up a little bit more so it wouldn't have big cubes in there, so that it was all nice and chopped up to blend well into that pasta salad. And that's it for the pasta salad. But I did go ahead and make this earlier on in the day from dinner time so that all those flavors would kind of meld together. You don't want to make this like right at dinner time because the pasta won't really have as much flavor. It won't absorb all that Greek dressing, and I feel like that's very important for this. It was really amazing, and you definitely don't want to mess that up. And then next, to get started on the chicken, I'm just taking 2 large chicken breasts, and I'm going to go ahead and fillet them in half. And there's no real recipe to this. I am just eyeing some seasonings and some buffalo sauce on them. I thought that would be easy and flavorful, but also complement having with the pasta salad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and season those with some pink Himalayan sea salt, some cracked black pepper, I believe some ranch seasoning, some garlic powder, and maybe some onion powder. And then I'm just going to take some Frank's buffalo sauce and just drizzle that on top of each one of these fillets. And I'm going to just use my basting brush to kind of spread that around and get it evenly coated. That's how you feel. You went so far away. You should give us a chance, please be kind. I need to see you just one last time. You should give us a chance. And now I have a large skillet over medium high heat, and I went ahead and heated a couple tablespoons of olive oil as well as a couple tablespoons of butter, and I'm just going to go ahead and place those chicken breasts in there and season the other sides the exact same way. And then you're just going to go ahead and cook these for about 4 to 5 minutes, and then you're going to flip them and cook them for an additional 4 to 5 minutes, or until you have an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees. I went ahead and topped my buffalo chicken with a little bit of blue cheese, and that pasta salad is amazing. I normally make one with like salami and cheese, and this one is my new favorite one. This next meal is salmon with peach salsa. I'm going to start off by making the marinade for the salmon because you want that to marinate for an hour or so. So I'm going to take some orange juice, and I'm just going to use real oranges. I didn't have actual orange juice on hand, so you need about a 1/4 cup of orange juice, and so I just went ahead and did that. And now I'm gonna go ahead and press some garlic here, about 3 cloves. These were on the smaller side, but I do like a lot of garlic, so use anywhere from 1 to 3, 4, whatever you like. Next, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And then I'm going to go ahead and grate some ginger. So I am just peeling that outer skin on that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and just grate that. And I'm using maybe about a tablespoon of that ginger. Then I just gave that a good stir to combine all those ingredients, and I tasted that and it needed some additional flavor, so I went ahead and added a pinch of salt and pepper, as well as maybe a tablespoon to 2 of brown sugar to add a little sweetness to that. And I went ahead and just poured that in my Ziploc bag here with my salmon fillets that were actually still slightly thawing, but I had them in there for about an hour while those thawed the rest of the way before I cooked it. You also want to make the peach salsa in advance about an hour so that you have a chance to let those flavors meld together. So I'm going to go ahead and dice up about 2 peaches, and apparently I cut right through the pit of this peach, so you'll see me scooping that out there. I've never had that happen. That was kind of weird and it looked kind of strange. But anyway, so I went ahead and just diced that peach up, 2 peaches total, into some nice bite-sized chunks, like salsa-sized chunks. Now I'm just taking a lime and cutting that in half, and I'm going to use the juice from half of the lime and add that to those peaches. Next, I'm also going to dice up 1 whole jalapeno, and I'm taking the seeds out, but you can leave them in if you would like some more spice. I'm not huge on the extra heat that those give, so I'm taking them out. I also had a small amount of red onion left, so I'm going to go ahead and dice that up, and I used maybe about 1/4 of a cup of that diced onion and went ahead and put that into the salsa.
Night and day, could you give us a chance if you might? And I deserve it, please, one last time. Could you give us a chance, we'll be so fine.
Next, I went ahead and cut some cilantro off of a bunch that I had here, and that's already been rinsed. And I'm taking some of those thicker stems out, and I'm just going to give it a slight little chop up here, rough chop, and I added about maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons in total of that because I really like cilantro. And that's it for that peach salsa. So you're just going to go ahead and set that aside, let all those flavors start to meld together. I did notice that my peaches weren't too sweet. They were a little on the tart side, so for me I added a little small maybe half a tablespoon of sugar to that, just to kind of sweeten it up a bit. So now you'll just see me there trying to make some Instant Pot rice. I just added about 2 cups of rice to my Instant Pot, 2 cups of water, as well as some salt and a little bit of butter, and I'm just cooking that on high pressure for 13 minutes. And I let that just naturally release as I'm getting other things ready. You can quick release if you need to as well. Next, I went ahead and lined my baking sheet with some aluminum foil, and I went ahead and gave that a spray of some olive oil, and I'm going to go ahead and place my salmon fillets on top and pour the rest of that marinade over the top of those fillets. And then I'm going to go ahead and bake that at 400 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the thickness of your salmon. And then while that was baking, or when it was almost done baking, I went ahead and just prepared this bagged salad. The Asian chopped salad is one of my favorites, and I have a few of them right now that I need to use up. But I could eat this whole bag of salad easily by myself. It's like one of my favorite things. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw all those ingredients together there. It's super good if you haven't tried it. And I had a little bit of these dried chow mein noodles left, just a small amount, and it was amount perfect for this salad. Just add a little extra crunch. And there's that salmon coming out of the oven. As you can see, it looks burnt. It's not, it's just the runoff from those juices. It's perfectly fine. And this was absolutely delicious. I loved this salmon with the peach salsa. It really added a nice fresh flavor to that, and so we really enjoyed that. Last meal was a pork tenderloin with some au gratin potatoes and some roasted carrots. I went ahead and cleaned and peeled 3 pounds of russet potatoes, and now I'm just going to go ahead and slice those into rounds that are 1/4 inch in thickness, or about there. If you have a mandolin slicer, you can go ahead and do that. I didn't, but I do now because it would make things so much easier. Next, I'm going to be making 1 cup of broth using this Better Than Bouillon. I'm using the vegetable base, but you can use the chicken one as well, and it will be just fine. And so I'm just using 1 cup to 1 teaspoon there. And you're going to go ahead and pour that broth over your potatoes in the Instant Pot liner. And I'm just going to go and season those with 1/2 teaspoon salt. a half a teaspoon black pepper, a half a teaspoon oregano, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm just gonna give that all a good stir to combine all of that. I might have also added some onion powder there, about another teaspoon of that. And then just stir that all together, and press your potatoes back down kind of into a flat layer. And then you're gonna just go ahead and cook those for 1 minute, and then on high, and then give them a natural pressure release of 3 minutes, and then you can go ahead and release the rest of your steam with a quick release. And while those were cooking, I went ahead and measured out my 1 cup of heavy cream, and I'm gonna go ahead and grate 2 cups of this extra sharp cheddar cheese. I'm doing this in advance so that it could start to come to room temperature, since it's going to be made into a sauce. And I'm also going ahead and pressing some garlic, and you can press anywhere from, you know, whatever amount of garlic you like, starting from a clove on. I'm using about 4 or 5. I had some small cloves there, and I'm just going to go ahead and press those, and these are to get ready as soon as the potatoes are done. We're going to make that sauce for them. So once those went ahead and finished releasing their natural pressure for 3 minutes, I released the rest of the steam, and I'm going to be taking the potatoes out of the pot here and placing them into a medium-sized baking dish. And you're going to want to leave the liquid from the potatoes in the pot still, because we're going to use that right now to saute the garlic. So you're going to turn your saute function on now and put your garlic in there and let it cook for about 30 seconds. And then you're going to go ahead and add in your heavy cream to that, and I'm just going to go ahead and give that a stir and let that come to a nice light simmer. And then you'll want to turn off your Instant Pot. And once your Instant Pot is off, you're going to go ahead and add in your cheese, and you're only using half of the cheese, so I'm only using half of that block now. And I do it in 2 parts because I like to mix the cheese and make sure that it all melts first, so that it doesn't clump up in there, because you want a nice smooth sauce. So there's that. And then once you've made that sauce, we'll go ahead and pour that on the potatoes.
Alone and loud, that's how I feel. I dream all night and day. Could you give us a chance?
So here you'll see me just pouring all that cheese sauce right on those potatoes, and I'm just trying to get all that sauce out, because for me, the more cheese the better, so I'm not leaving no cheese behind. And then you're going to go ahead and lightly just stir those potatoes into the cheese sauce so that they get nice and coated, but be gentle as to not break up all your potatoes. I do like nice rounds there for this au gratin. Lastly, you're going to want to top the top of the potatoes with the remainder of your cheese, so the other half of the block. Just go ahead and place that on top, and then you're going to bake these at 375 degrees for 15 minutes, as well as maybe a minute of broil to get the cheese nice and bubbly. And then I'm moving on to this pork loin, and I showed you the kind that I'm using here. It's already seasoned. You of course could just go from plain pork loin and season it yourself, but I have this, so I'm going to use it up. And it's just like a black pepper bacon, so that's what all those crumbles are there. But I'm going to be using my air fryer, and first time I've ever used this rotisserie function of it, like putting something on the spit. So I did not do a good job of it because I couldn't find my manual, and of course I was rushing myself there. So I struggled and I didn't do it right, but it still worked out perfectly. And now I found my manual, and I will be ready to go the next time. So I'm just having my boyfriend place that here into the Omni for me. And I'm going to go ahead and be baking that at 365 degrees for 25 minutes. And I put it on rotate so that it can get nice. And I don't even know how to like slowly roast it, I guess. But I did use the air fry function. And then I roasted up some carrots, and I'll show you how I made those. I'll link the video from last week. It's just last week's video. I made the same carrots, so I'll just go ahead and link those. And there is me just chopping up that pork loin into some slices. It was super juicy. I'm pretty sure I will not do pork loin in the oven again. air frying it this way, especially, I don't know if it was like the rotating function, but it was really, really juicy. So this was amazing. Those au gratin potatoes were my new favorite, and the Instant Pot made them like so much easier than all the time it takes to make them straight in the oven. So I'll definitely be doing that again, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos. I hope you all have an amazing week.